Okay, I've just watched scenes on the TV tonight that I never believed I would ever witness in my life. And actually, they were so shocking that it was a real learning moment about democracy. We all think we know what democracy is, but the truth is that my generation hasn't really known conflict. I think that people who've had to fight to acquire their democracy perhaps appreciate it more. The Americans had their Civil War, in which between 600,000 and 700,000 people died. That was serious. The Brits had their Civil War, lasted about 10 years, when the parliamentary side went against the royalists, and they lost about 200,000 people. But it was particularly bitter in this country because you had brother fighting brother, father fighting son, and the rancor it caused, followed by, because they also called it the War of the Three Kingdoms, Cromwell's campaign in Ireland, which was absolutely brutal, led to so many other things. But at the end of the day, people who've had to fight for these things know maybe its value more. So I'm shocked that the Americans did tonight what looked to an outsider like me as sedition, insurrection, and an attempted coup, with people breaking into the seat of government, with government officials actually cowering behind their seats to stop, to get away from the people who were breaking into the Capitol. A couple of things come to mind. Everybody knows that democracy is about following the rule of law, following the processes, and having institutions that can bring them about, everything from an electoral commissioner through to people who run the vote, through to politicians who campaign for this policy or that policy, etc., etc. The institutions are there. But tonight, what we witnessed in America shows that by far the most important aspect of democracy is the heart and the mind of the people who bring it about. Truth is, if you don't respect life, if you don't respect people, it doesn't matter how strong your institutions are, you will always shortchange them, swerve them, undercut them, or whatever. And that is what it's. I'm not an American, of course. I don't know what's going on in their country. I don't live there every day, but I follow the news, and it seems to me that Mr. Trump has lost this election. To add insult to injury, he has today lost Georgia as well, and into the bargain, his majority in the Senate. So now Biden really has a chance to come along and rule, govern, get his policies across. And it seems that the personal loss of one man has led him to fire up his people with this campaign of stonewall elections and so on, which he's had tens of law cases to prove in court and come up short every time. But he goaded these people into this act. So I think about this. When I watch these things, I can't help but think of Africa. And I realize that whether it's the institutions that we're not used to using, whether we can't think beyond a very narrow image of ourselves, the biggest challenge we have got is to find leaders who respect life, where it's not just about winning, it's about winning legally, transparently, and respecting the will of the people. Trump has shown us exactly how this cannot be done. This shouldn't be done. And I think it's a fantastic learning moment for anybody who lives in a so-called democracy to see how this thing is done. The democracy isn't just about the institutions, it's about the mindset of the people who go into it. If they don't respect people, then they have the heart of a dictator. And they will subvert all the institutions which have been put in place to create and run the democracy. And I don't think we need to go through a civil war. I don't think we need to go through the carnage of human conflict to appreciate the fact that human life must be respected. I wish them well in America, because what they have shown us is where America really is. Biden's just come on and he said that, oh, actually, this isn't who we are. No, he's wrong. I'm sorry, Mr. Biden. This is who you are. This is the America that really is. This is how people have been raised, educated, made to think of themselves so that the individual doesn't sit down, pause and think. Individuals who just follow slogans. So if I'm a Trump supporter, it's Trump or else. And if my man doesn't come on, I'm going to trash the place I saw people smashing the windows of Congress. Those guys should be jailed. It's wrong. So yeah, how we do these things isn't a question of somebody coming up and saying, oh, this is not who we are. I'm sorry. No, it really is who America is right now. And I hope their leaders are going to take cognizance of that and do what they need to do to make America the place they want it to be. And as for us in Africa, how we run our affairs also shows who we are. Don't blame the other party. Don't blame anybody else. Don't blame Europe. Don't blame anybody else. These things put us under pressure and show us who we really are. Just a thought.